Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss our emotional life stories. I told my husband I needed some time away, a short trip with friends to clear my head. I was completely drained, worn thin by his constant need for attention, and the endless arguments that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Every small disagreement turned into chaos, and I felt trapped, suffocated under the weight of it all. I just wanted a little space to breathe, to exist without feeling pulled apart. Before leaving, I was honest with him. I told him not to expect constant updates, that I might even switch off my phone for a bit. I explained how desperately I needed this time to recharge. He just looked at me, his eyes filled with quiet hurt. I expected a fight, but he simply nodded and said softly, "Do what you think is right." His calmness unsettled me, but I brushed it aside. When the trip began, a strange sense of relief washed over me. My phone stayed silent. No messages, no questions, no tension. For the first time in years, I felt light again. I laughed with my friends, explored new places, stayed up late, and shared photos online. For a fleeting moment, I thought maybe this freedom was what I'd been missing all along. I didn't stop to think about how he might be feeling back home. I convinced myself he'd understand. He always did. But when I returned, what I found left me frozen. My husband was sitting calmly in the living room beside a man in a dark suit with a briefcase. As I stepped closer, my husband stood and said quietly, "This is Mr. Harris, my divorce attorney." I let out a nervous laugh, assuming it was some kind of joke, but his face didn't change. Mr. Harris opened his case and neatly laid a few papers on the table. "Everything is ready," he said. "Your husband is prepared to proceed with the divorce." My stomach twisted. I could barely form words. Then my husband spoke, his voice calm but weighted. "When you told me you were cutting me off during that trip, I realized you've been shutting me out for years. This isn't about a few days away. You've been ignoring me, our marriage, my feelings, for too long. I can't do it anymore. I won't keep fighting for someone who doesn't want to be fought for." His words cut deeper than any argument we'd ever had. I tried to explain that I just needed space, that I never meant to hurt him. I begged him to understand, but he only shook his head, exhausted. "Marriage isn't about pushing each other away," he said. "It's about choosing each other every single day. And you stopped choosing me a long time ago." Tears blurred everything. Memories crashed back. His small acts of love, the morning coffees, waiting up when I was late, holding my hand on walks. I remembered all the times I brushed him off, saying I was tired or busy. Each memory cut like glass. The lawyer slid the papers toward me, saying I didn't have to sign right away. But the process had already begun. My husband turned and went upstairs, leaving me staring at the documents that would undo our life together. I wanted to run after him, to promise I'd change, but pride and fear held me still. In the days that followed, I tried everything to fix what I had broken. I cooked his favorite meals, filled the house with familiar scents, left tear-stained notes on his pillow. I told him I was sorry, that I finally understood. I reached for his hand at dinner, brushed against him in the hallway hoping for a spark. But he stayed distant. Dinners were silent. My messages went unanswered. When I tried to hug him, he stepped back, not in anger, but with a quiet sadness that hurt more than yelling ever could. A wall had formed between us, and I was pounding helplessly on the other side. Nights were the hardest. Lying beside him, I missed the late-night talks, the gentle warmth. I kept replaying all the times he'd tried to reach me and how I'd turned away. The silence now was unbearable. One night, I completely broke down, sitting on the edge of bed, crying uncontrollably. I begged him for another chance, to rebuild, to start over. He looked at me with tired eyes and said softly, "I don't trust you anymore. You need me now because you're scared of losing me, not because you love me." Those words shattered me more than the divorce papers ever could. That was the moment I finally understood the loneliness he'd been living with, the years he carried our marriage alone, while I drifted further away. Even now, I wake up hoping for a miracle, wishing he'd believe our story isn't over. But every day, the distance grows. Deep down, I know sometimes love comes too late. I cried, pleaded, made promises, but he remained calm, unmoved. His silence cut deeper than anger ever could. One night, I asked if there was anything that could change his mind. He met my eyes and said quietly, "No. The moment you decided I wasn't worth your time, you already gave me my answer." Then he walked away, leaving me surrounded by regret. For so long, I believed he would never really leave. I mistook his patience for weakness, never realizing the strength it took for him to stay until he simply couldn't anymore. And when that day came, he was gone for good. When I finally signed the papers, my hands trembled, and he wasn't there. The house felt cold and hollow. Days turned into weeks. Friends stopped calling. I was left alone with the silence I had created. The freedom I once craved now felt meaningless. The thrill had faded, but the ache of losing someone who truly cared never did. Eventually, he moved out completely, starting a new life beyond my reach. I saw him once from a distance, walking beside another woman. He was smiling, alive in a way I hadn't seen in years. He didn't leave because of her. He left because of me, because I pushed him away again and again until there was nothing left for him to hold on to. That trip, the escape I thought I needed, ended up teaching me the hardest truth of all. Love isn't meant to be convenient. Real love means showing up even when it's hard. And I learned that lesson too late, after losing the only person who ever truly loved me.